Hey, what's up, dudes? So, I got a little bit of a trip ahead of me here because I'm taking stuff down to Goodwill. I don't know if you can see a chair in the back. Putting in a couple other toys and stuff we don't have anymore. But anyway, so I figured this would be a good time to tell you the answer to the last quiz. And there's going to be a lot of surprised people about this one. But there's a story that goes with it, of course. So the answer, the thing that I didn't do was B. I have never tried to blow up a stick of C4. However, as in most stories, I was present when the person that did bring it home tried to blow it up. We were unsuccessful. We had no idea at that point that if we blew up that whole stick of C4, it would probably have been most of the road that we were on would have been gone. But anyway, so just to answer all the questions that I think everybody might have, yes, I was actually removed from the military. I was in the military 2 times. One time right out of high school, where I went to basic training and airborne school, and the old guard. I was supposed to go to Korea, but I ended up at Fort McNair in Washington, D.C. Sorry, I'm putting the windows up. Which is where they do, ceremonies and stuff like that. I was slated to go to Korea, but I wasn't real excited about going to Korea. So when they came around and asked for volunteers to go to the old guard, of course I put my hand up. First time I ever left home. So while I was in the old guard, I don't know if, some of y'all know, I was pretty much an altar boy until, I don't know, like my second month before I graduated high school. I didn't drink beers. I didn't smoke cigarettes or weed, or have sex. I didn't do any of that stuff until just a couple months before I graduated. In fact, I smoked the marijuana the first time the night before I left for MEPS for boot camp in my cousin's backyard. But when I got out on my own, all that stuff kind of came to the realization at one time. And there was a dude in my platoon that looked almost identical to me, who was 22 years old or something. So, I would take his ID and go clubbing. We were pretty big on this place called The Cellar in D.C. And I would get obliterated every night. And I was probably at the beginning of my worst when I was in the military. Just because I don't want to say that I was a good kid, but I was still pretty much a good-hearted kid before I went into the military. And then when I got out of high school and actually did go into the military, all that stuff kind of came to fruition for me at the same time. So anyway, I started drinking every night. I woke up drunk for formation. I couldn't tell you how many times. One time I got smashed at the club. I remember cheering a cup of gin like this, and then after that I don't remember anything except for when they threw me into the back of the taxi. They said that I was walking up to men and women alike in the bar, telling them if they could knock me out with a punch that I would leave them alone or something. So they threw me in a taxi, sent me home, sent me back to the barracks. The barracks at McNair are old. They're old stone. I think the barracks there are some of the oldest in the United States. Fort McNair, Washington, D.C. But anyway, they put me in a taxi, sent me back to the barracks, and I remember stumbling up the steps, big stone steps up here in a long catwalk. And I remember stumbling up the steps and looking to the right down this catwalk to where the CQ door was, where I had to go in. And the CQ sergeant had just stepped outside the door and was standing there looking at me. I don't know what time it was. It was dark. I don't have any idea what time it was. Late. And I saw this dude staring at me, and I took off running as fast as I could run from where I was standing to where he was. And it was probably, 30 yards, 40 yards maybe from where I was standing in the middle of the steps to the CQ door. So I started sprinting for no apparent reason at this door. And when I got about 10 meters away from it, I just dove like I was sliding into second base and hit the ground and slid up to the CQ sergeant's toes. And he reached down and he said, "Howk, you're in an awful lot of trouble." But he picked me up, threw me over his shoulder. I can remember screaming like something was wrong with me, but there wasn't anything wrong with me. And I went to bed, and I slept for, couldn't have been more than an hour or two maybe, and then I had to get up for formation, and I was still shit banged when I got to formation. Thankfully, it was raining that day, so we had formation in the basement, and I remember standing up against the wall, you know, when they called us to attention and for relaxing and stuff, and then the first sergeant, when he said fall out, I fell forward and draped my arms over his shoulders. And I'm sure he could smell the alcohol, but he said to me, "Howk, I'm sending you to see the man," which meant the colonel. He was the commander of of our unit anyway. So I went to see the man, and the man told me, his name was Colonel Nash. He said, "Howk, I don't think you want to be in the military." And well, of course I was, you know, sorry about it then, because I'd screwed up. You know, I thought my whole life was over. So anyway, I actually got 2 more Article 15s after that one, because I was a shitbag kid, and I didn't care about any of that stuff. So anyway, they ended up putting me out of the military. Now, it was a general, under honorable conditions discharge, which I was very lucky for, and I'm thankful for that colonel taking it easy on me, because he could have really handed me my butt. And then I took about a 7.5-year break, and then I went back into the military. And before they let me back into the military, I had to write like an apology letter to America to say, "I'm sorry that I was such a screw up the first time that I was in. I'd like to come back in and try it again." And that's what happened the second time, and then I stayed in until the end of my career, and I got an honorable discharge and all that stuff. So I thank all of you that were, I don't know what the word is, looking past me enough to think that that wasn't it, but that was it. So anyway, I hope the rest of y'all have a great day, and stand by for another story coming soon.